Today, we are exploring one of our most favorite locations to date, an abandoned hospital that dates back to the year 1910, making this location over 110 years old. This hospital stood through a tumultuous history of British rule to Apartheid South Africa and the dawn of the democratic new South Africa, just to be abandoned and forgotten during the first 2 decades of the new millennium. What we find during our Urbex mission will have to color the picture for us and hopefully give us enough insight into what this facility offered and maybe a hint at what caused its ultimate abandonment. Due to political sensitivity, the advanced state of decay of most buildings, and on-site security that guard the few residents that still live in the remaining homes on the compound, we will unfortunately not disclose this hospital's location. So join Rogue and Sinister as we step into a location so vast that we had to split this into a 3-part mini-series, and let's see what remains in part 1 as we explore the main building of this massive location. Walking into the ground floor, east wing of the building, the state of decay is immense. With 110 years behind it, this hospital and its abandonment is shrouded in mystery. It has seen eras, wars and governments come and gone. After the bitter and bloody Second Anglo-Boer War between 1899 to 1902, Britain slowly started losing its grip on South Africa. 1910 saw the formation of the Union of South Africa by the former British colonies and the Boer republics. The Union was seen as made up of self-governing colonies, but in 1934, South Africa is finally declared to be a sovereign independent state, removing the last vestiges of British legal authority over South Africa. This admin office still has some shelves and storage space left, but it is clear that where admin and medical staff once worked, only dust, debris, and shadows remain. We assume that this was the ER theatre. We find medical consumables scattered between debris in a room that was once used to save lives, now itself way past the point of resuscitation. Walking down the dark passage, we find the doorways have been bricked up. We assume that this must be from recent years when this facility no longer operated as a fully fledged hospital, but rather as a scaled down clinic, and later admin only under the current government's health department. Broken signs under paint chips from decades of decay. Later we would come to find that this sign pointed to one of the closed off sections, where we could only access the X-ray and physiotherapy departments from the outside. This will be explored in part 2 of this series. Tuberculosis became a notifiable disease between 1903 to 1960 in South Africa. 1948 sees the introduction of apartheid policies in the country, which also meant that living conditions and health facilities were not equal between the white and black citizens of South Africa. There was no parallel health program for the majority of South Africans, and by the mid-20th century, the TB death rate among whites in South Africa was lower than in most European countries. However, the data at hand suggests that the death rates among non-whites were disturbingly high. This hospital, before the fall of apartheid, was a predominantly white facility. Walking into the ground floor west wing of this hospital, this section is reminiscent of a TB ward, with its rooms opening up onto a fresh air sunroom. At the dawn of the 20th century, open air treatment was used for patients with infectious respiratory diseases, such as tuberculosis. With mostly empty rooms lining this long passage, we find the remnants of a bed frame in the final room, and we cannot help but wonder what tales this room might tell, if only walls could speak. The nursing station, lined with empty shelves, medication and medical supplies are long gone. How many patients must have received treatment from this station through almost 110 years of its existence? I can almost feel the head nurse watching me as I explore the shadows of this facility. The kitchen where meals were prepared now sits empty and lifeless. Some random items still lie on shelves in the hall closet. Scaling the main staircase leads us to the first floor of the main building. We are greeted by a wood-paneled reception, with the first floor splitting into an east and west wing. To the left is the first floor east wing and what remains of the pediatric ward. Baby blue paint, room dividers and the remnants of curtains are all that remains after decades of decay. Some rooms are totally unrecognizable, with only hints of its purpose scattered here and there. Turning left into a passage takes us down the training portion of this hospital. In later years, this also became a training hospital, with classrooms for theoretical studies to go hand in hand with practical training. In one room we even find old slides and VHS tapes on a shelf, all part of the training curriculum that was taught at this facility, now fading away as time goes by. Classroom walls are rotting away under what remains of the roof. Sun, wind and rain is taking its toll day by day, and nature does what it always does to such places. It reclaims it bit by bit. We leave this wing wondering how many nurses and doctors received training at this facility, and if any of them are still in the medical industry today. Stepping into the west wing of the first floor, mostly empty rooms are found, but it allows us to reflect on some history during which this facility operated. In 1961, South Africa is declared to be a republic. The South African Border War is fought between 1966 to 1989, and then apartheid is finally toppled and abolished in 1994. The new South Africa is born under democratic rule and a new constitution, which should guarantee equality and freedom for all South African citizens. The original cornerstone of this hospital was laid on 12 March 1910 by then Governor of the colony, Sir H.J. Gould Adams, barely 2 months before the formation of the Union of South Africa on 31 May 1910. A second cornerstone was laid on 27 March 1931 by the Administrator of the province, Honourable Carl Miller Wilcox, roughly 3.5 years before South Africa is declared a sovereign independent state on 22nd August 1934. Another cornerstone is found by a building that housed the Department of Health's offices in recent years. This cornerstone was laid on 6 April 1927 by the founder and first chairperson of this hospital, Lord T.W. Hosiason. We will also explore this office in part 2 of this series. By the various cornerstones on this location, it is safe to assume that this hospital went through numerous developments, upgrades and expansions. But it also proves that this location dates back more than a century. Unfortunately, during our research, very little history about this hospital could be found online. This could be due to political reasons, but also due to poor record keeping by recent government mismanagement and the inevitable cover-ups that follows such matters. We go up the narrow staircase leading to the rooftop laboratory, not sure what we would find, but hopeful to at least get a beautiful view after the rain shower passed while we were inside exploring. Surprised at the destruction, but more surprised to still find many things left behind to explore. Between broken desks and debris, we find the elevator stuck and the door warning visitors of potential biohazards. On the work surfaces, chemicals such as anesthetic ether, chloroform, glycerine and various others still sit in containers. Powders and test vials are scattered everywhere. Peeking through the broken door leading to the roof, the view is amazing, with dark clouds still lining the horizon. With part 1 of 3 behind us, we have only scratched the surface, so in part 2 we will be exploring the doctor's consultation rooms connected to the front of the main building, the pharmacy located at the back of the main building, the Department of Health's office filled with medical consumables and files sitting by the west entrance, the mortuary, housed in a separate building. The nurse's old and new residence with the remnants of the children's daycare. The operating theatres, and so much more. So support the Rogue Urbex initiative by subscribing, liking, commenting and sharing. We'll see you in part 2 of this series.